What's up, everybody? I'm David Hain. Welcome to episode 220 of the A to D From Addict to Disciple podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, please like, subscribe, follow, and share the link with your friends. If you'd like to get our curriculum, you can get the paperback or ebook of From Ashes to Destiny on Amazon. When we come back, we'll get into this episode entitled Words Hurt. Welcome back to episode 220 of the A to D From Addict to Disciple podcast entitled Words Hurt. The idea for this podcast came from comments and reactions to recent episodes, the one on 10-Minute Friends and the one on finding somebody to talk to that I'm glad I spoke with you today. And the guys were saying, David, I'm actually afraid to open up and share, especially with new friends, because I don't know if I can trust them yet. And with my old friends, actually, I think I've already shared too much with them because the responses that they give me when I do open up, their words hurt. I know that words hurt because I've been hurt by friends and by family who I guess they just don't trust me the way I don't trust new friends. So sort of caught in a wicked web there. So I hear what the guys said, and what I did in response was I contacted my friend Michael, and he agreed to go on a walkabout with me through the Words Hurt Park. As we walk up to each sign, Michael will share his thoughts and reactions. Okay? Well, Michael, here we are at the entrance to the park, and the sign says, "Sticks and Stones is an English language children's rhyme. Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you. The rhyme is intended to be used as a defense against name-calling and verbal bullying, meant to increase resiliency, avoid physical retaliation, and help victims remain calm." Yeah, David, I hear what the sign says, but I also know the park is called Words Hurt. So I think we're going to be looking at the opposite side of this sticks and stones statement. Well, Michael, let's head down the path and see what we get. Okay. The first sign is a quote by Soren Kierkegaard, and it says, "Once you label me, you negate me." Sure, David. I'm wounded by old labels that haunt me, ones from my childhood, ones that I was called by my mom or my dad or my brother or my sister, by grandparents, by cousins, by friends, by teachers. And oh yeah, especially teachers. Here's one example. You see, I had trouble learning to read in primary school. So my teacher labeled me a slow learner. And talking about the label negated me, that negatively impacted my self-confidence to this day. Here I am, an adult man. And whenever I hear there's something new I need to learn, if it's in a job interview or an opportunity or whatever, the voice goes off inside my head saying, "You're a slow learner, you're a slow learner." And to be honest, David, I hesitated getting my driver's license because of that. I waited a couple years past when it was eligible. And I've decided to give up on several jobs before I even had the interview because it talked about new skills or doing things their way, learning their system. And that voice said, "You're a slow learner." Wow, Michael, that starts us off in a good footing that I'm sure a lot of people can identify with. Let's go down to the next sign. Here's a twist. The next sign just says, "Do you label yourself?" Wow, David. I label myself all the time. Stuff like, I'm no good at this or that. I've always been a slow learner, like I just said. Or I don't like this food. I don't like to do that. I don't like to try new things. And I guess I'm beginning to see how it's a tangled web I'm caught in here, but how do I change? How do I stop self-labeling? If I'm honest, for the first time, I'm realizing my own self-labeling, those words hurt me worse than other people's words. They hurt me way worse than sticks and stones. It's like I'm a cutter, but with my own words. It's like I'm verbally self-harming myself through this self-harming behavior of labeling myself. Wow. That's deep, Michael, and definitely something we'll dig into a lot more, because I'd like to take the time to unpack all the labels that you call yourself and see if we can't get to the root, get to how they've changed your sort of core value and identity, and how we can bring healing to them. Yeah, that sounds great, David. Okay, well, we've made our way to the next sign, and it's from the book of Proverbs, chapter 12, verse 18, and it says, "Thoughtless words cut like a sword, but the tongue of wise people brings healing." David, I'm definitely the guy who's been cut by that sword over and over again. But to be honest, no one sees me bleeding. I guess I've grown tough skin because no one sees my pain. When their words cut me, I just keep a stiff upper lip, or I smile or laugh with them if they're making fun of me or teasing me. No one knows how desperately I need healing words of wise people, but I don't even know how to find them. Well, Michael, I think the key is just in the way you phrase that. You need healing words of wise people. So I think the key is to find the courage to share with people that you know are not going to mock you. People are not going to correct you or fix you, but just bring healing words of affirmation and confidence and encouragement. Okay, David, let's head on down to the next sign. Sure, Michael. The next sign says, Proverbs 17, verse 22 says, "A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones." Wow. David, we just brought a whole new level of understanding here, because I have to admit my spirit was crushed at a very young age by those words from family and by teachers and friends. And if I reflect back on it now, just from reading this sign, I feel like my bones are brittle from all the labels, the mocking, the name calling. And I don't know what to do about it. How do I find a cheerful heart if I feel like my bones are dried up and brittle? I'm lost here. I'm at a loss for words, David. Well, Michael, I think it's a neat revelation that you've gotten, on this. A cheerful heart is good medicine. But when our bones are dried up and our spirit's been crushed, that's where we need the healing to take place. So I think as we dig deeper, we'll really dig into those areas where, well, those words hurt, but they didn't crush my spirit. And let's focus on the ones that did. Okay, David. Okay, here we're at the next sign, and it says, Proverbs 18 and 14 says, "A man's spirit will endure sickness, but a crushed spirit who can bear?" Wow, David, that's exactly what we were talking about at the last sign. It's always been easier to just give up. I can't bear trying to disprove the labels I've gotten from my childhood, or the recent labels as a no-good addict, a liar, a thief, a beggar, not the son that my parents raised, the rebellious whatever, criminal, whatever they want to call me. How do I bear up under that? How do I, realizing that my bones are brittle, my spirit's crushed, if it just was a sickness, I could endure it. But how do I bear up when my very spirit has been crushed and my addiction only created a new level of crushing? How do I find my spirit again? Wow. I think that's a key place, because if we don't find our spirit, if we don't get that cheerful heart going, we can become those guys who say, you know what, it's easier to accept the labels and prove them right. True that, David. You're spot on there. So I think the key is, with these words hurt, to really dig into those things that crushed your spirit, dig into those things that made your bones dry up and get brittle and got you feeling, how can I bear up under all this pressure of expectation and disappointment from those people who've been labeling me all these years? Okay, well, let's head on down to the end of the park, Michael. And the last sign just says, words do hurt. Don't believe the sticks and stones rhyme. Words may not break your bones, but they can injure or break your heart, crush your spirit, and the wound that they create can last a lifetime. So we want to encourage you to find the people who can restore your spirit and bring you a cheerful heart. Thanks for listening to this episode of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If this words hurt and the sticks and stones thing touched you and you realize, man, I need to get involved in getting some of this stuff off my chest and find a way to restore my spirit and find a cheerful heart, I want to encourage you to reach out. Talk to your support group, join a group, message me on the link in this podcast. You can message me by email at davidfromatod@gmail.com. You can go to my website, www.fromatod.org, and click on the contact page. Any way that's easiest for you. And I want to thank all those people who have been responding, because that creates new episodes like this one. So keep your questions, your comments, your concerns coming in. I really love them. Tune in Monday for our next episode. And as always, stay safe and stay resilient.